welcome to April's weekly vlog, episode 2. Yes, we have overcome doing something once and managing to do it a second time on time. That's a major achievement, right? So let's talk about things. First of all, if you didn't catch it, I have a it's long because there were so many announcements, but the WonHobby Good Smile Company, they're part of OneFest. The announcements were up a couple days ago, and I dodged spoilers of what was announced and did a live react, and that's up on YouTube. And yes, it is a long video, but if you want to check that out, feel free. And a lot of things announced. I'll admit I'm not familiar with the games or the IP that they're from. And then there were some things that belonged to figure lines that I wasn't familiar with, because a lot of times I like to do research before talking about things. But when I'm doing a react, I don't want to research because inevitably I'll get spoiled. This happens all the time. You should see me trying to dodge JJK manga spoilers. It's like going through a minefield. So there were some things I was unsure about. Q sets. I thought maybe they were the plushies, but they aren't. They are chibi fixed figures that are about 65 millimeters high, so less than 3 inches, and they're saying they're going to retail for around 2,500 yen. There have been some released, but it's not a very big line, so I don't feel like I really missed anything by not knowing what those were. But they announced a number of Q sets for Tokyo Revengers and some other properties, and I was like, what the heck is a Q set? So I looked it up on my figure collection. So that's what those are. They remind me a lot of some figures we had of Can Cole back in the day that have a chibi face, but also sort of a wider head and very squatty body, sort of almost like a Pop Team Epic kind of style chibi. So that's what those are, because if you watch that video, you'll see me pondering what those are. And then there was something called a Plamatea, Plamatea, and I was like, I haven't heard of these. Well, obviously there's a reason, because I went online and the only existing ones are all not released yet. It's a new plastic model line. And in fact, if you Google what is Plamatea, Google thinks you're entering Pilates and spelling it wrong. So it's not a big thing yet, but that's what that is. And unfortunately, I could not find a good estimate of what size they're all going to be, or any real information about giving scale, details, pricing, anything. They're all right now in kind of the draft phase on my figure collection and just announcements. So we'll see how that develops and see what quality and how complex a model kit they are and that kind of thing. But those were a couple of things that came out of WonHobby where they were sort of head scratchers. I get some of those, especially when you have sites where things are pulling from Chinese properties, and sometimes you're getting weird translations, and they put up these figure lines like you know what they're talking about. So yeah, apparently there was a post on Twitter, or X, don't get me started on that, that talked about this new line, but it didn't want to translate very well, and it didn't have a lot of real information. But that's what I know about that. And so the announcements that we saw the most excitement over was Ginkgo from Mushoshi, the very yokai heavy anime, has a very distinct aesthetic. That's really awesome. I was excited about Wiz from Konosuba and the other guys from Given, of course. And we had some excitement for the guy from Amnesia, Shin. So a really interesting mix of things. And of course, some Fate figures, some HoloLive, and other VTubers. So it was a really nice mix of stuff. And they had the other gentleman from the Vampire Dies in No Time, which I was happy about, because I think Drawluke needed his companion. So So a good Wonderfest or WonHobby. I haven't looked at the stuff from everybody else yet, so that's going to be my thrill this coming week, is looking at all the figures that are out of my price range and room allotment. I'm already running out of room space for my figures. But so the other Nendoroid news I wanted to touch upon, somebody mentioned, I think it was in the Nendoroid Reddit, I saw somebody asking about why some Nendoroids are being priced so low. Nendoroid prices have been going up, but then if you're shopping around, you're seeing cheaper pricing, often on Amazon. Shops are bargain basementing a lot of figures, to the point where some people worry, are they bootlegs or not? And so I can't speak to worldwide, but I can tell you what's happening in the US, which is that the economy is not doing great, and as we all know, and so people are being more cautious with their spending money for non-essentials, and so a lot of anime figures are sitting on store shelves. So a lot of stores, particularly in the US, are having to lower prices. And unfortunately, as we get things in, we're not always able to do that, because often they're selling at prices lower than even what we're paying for. But a lot of shops are taking a loss, and we're taking a loss on definitely some whole figures and things, just trying to get them moving. So when you see that, if it's from an authentic seller and you're like, why are they selling it so cheap? It doesn't necessarily mean the character's not popular. It doesn't necessarily mean that the quality is crappy. It probably just means people are overstocked and they're just trying to get business going. So be aware of that. If you see a good deal, take advantage of it, because hopefully it's not going to stay that way. The other thing about it is that the yen is really weak. So it is possible to get figures pretty cheap if you wait to import them. The trick with that is that a lot of things you will wait for, and of course people have been waiting for us to get stuff forever. But if you see something on our website, and especially the whole Nendos, and it says it's in stock, it is here in the US, in Portland, Oregon, ready to go. So just keep that in mind, especially if you're looking to get somebody a birthday or Christmas present or something like that. When we say we have something whole in box, we do. And that's the same with all of our things. We aren't doing pre-orders, because that just kind of bit us in the butt, because our distributor got so behind in fulfilling the things that we wanted. So if it says it's in stock, it should be here. The only time that isn't the case is honestly if our inventory counts are off, and that doesn't happen nearly as much with whole box stuff. But when we're talking about a tiny little sword or hand piece or something like that, sometimes that happens, and then we have to reach out and refund it to you. Because if you think about all these split parts from these Nendoroids, we don't get to like scan them with a QR code or zebra code. All of the counting of all of these things is done manually, and all it takes is one of us to have a little human error or something to slip out of the proper place that we keep it in its slippery little Ziploc bag. So anytime before we refund something and say we don't have it, we do a really thorough search. Often it involves one of us getting down on our hands and knees and looking around on the ground to make sure that we haven't dropped it somewhere, and we have overstock up on shelves. So a lot of times we're getting a step stool and looking around up above too, just to make sure that we didn't misplace it. So know that we do our best to keep our inventory counts accurate, but we're only human, and when we're dealing with objects that are literally millimeters big, it can't happen. So I just wanted to address those things. And then in shop news, Trav and I have not done a lot of customization over the last few years of Nendoroids ourselves. Obviously, we got into this business because I was customizing some Nendoroids, and I'm much clumsier and less professional at it than a lot of people. And certainly Trav, being a Warhammer model painter, He's done some other modeling, and he makes stuff for my cosplays. He's just a lot more proficient at it. And one of the projects that we've wanted to do for a long time was to create a set of Wizard of Oz Nendoroids. I'm a huge Wizard of Oz fan, and not just the MGM movie, but I've read all the original set of Oz books by L. Frank Baum. That was one of my kind of bucket list things. So I have a real love of the story, and it's one of the original isekai. So an isekai with a reverse harem, it's the best thing ever. So Trav is going to be starting on that project on Saturday noon Pacific time. We are streaming on YouTube, and it's going to be an ongoing series. He's going to make Dorothy, the Scarecrow, the Tin Man, and the Lion. And some of them will be pretty simple customizations, because for the Lion, I believe he's using Saber Lion's outfit, but some of them will be more intricate. So it should be a lot of fun. I'm really excited because we're going to get some really wonderful one-of-a-kind figures out of it, and hopefully we'll give you some ideas or inspiration for projects of your own. The other thing that I'll be sharing over the next few months or this fall, which is anime related but not Nendoroid, is I make a lot of Ita bags, and I have more than I can show off at one time, but I am in the process of making one for our trip to California to the theme parks, so that I don't worry about losing some of my precious favorite pens. And I'm also making one to celebrate the end of the Given manga. I actually started it before I knew the manga was definitely finishing up, but I got the idea to take a bag that a real life guitar comes in and turn it into an Ita bag. And so I'm collecting things up for that. So I'll be sharing those at some point when they're at a good work in progress state, and then the end point. So, that's kind of what's going on with us. And here, this stuff that's standing up is all things we got in today that are now up for sale on the website. Most of them we have split and whole, but we did not split any of the Okami dog. Not much point in that. And then the things that are laying down here are things that I have yet to get finished up, and so you should expect these to be posted in the next day or two. I've got the listings made, just got to take some pictures and stuff. So that's kind of where we're at. And let us know what you're excited about, what you're doing with your Nendoroids. And I forgot.
Before we go, pop quiz. Time for the first installment of Name That Faceplate.
Trav has
So gotta find where the focus is gonna be. There we go. So faceplate number 1.
Trav has threatened to do that.
Who is this?
Okay, this is a Disney princess. The question is which one, because she has blue eyes and pink eyeshadow, and she's definitely not Rapunzel, because I own Rapunzel. I think this is probably one of the Elsas, but not the original Elsa. I am going to say maybe the newest Elsa?
Yes, the epilogue Elsa.
The epilogue Elsa, yes! Okay.
Alright. Faceplate number 2.
Okay. Oh, this one's easy. This is Steven Starfaze from
That's right.
From, I want to say Bed Bath and Beyond. No. Blood Blockade Battlefront. It's a triple B. It's all kind of related.
That's right, it works.
Okay. He told me this was the inaugural run, so they'd be pretty easy.
That's right. This is the third one.
Oh, this is a Tokyo Revengers character. The question is it Mikey, or is it the other guy that we have in stock? I'm gonna go with it's the other. Is it Shifuya?
No, it's Mikey.
It is Mikey. Darn it. Darn Darn it.
Well, 2 out of 3 ain't bad for being put on the spot.
Well, I'm happy I got Elsa because that was kind of a process of elimination because I did not recognize this faceplate for sure as Elsa because I really only remember what her main ones look like, but going through the Disney princesses, I knew it wasn't Cinderella or Rapunzel or Anna, so I'm like, okay, it's got to be
Process
Elsa.
of elimination.
Yes. Yes, yes. Ooh, and one final thing I'm really, really excited about. I play Twisted Wonderland, and we're not going to get this event till next year, but they've announced a Stitch event, and I am a huge Stitch fan, and Stitch is going to hang out with my Twisted Wonderland boys, and I think that's super cool, especially since in my Ida bag, my goal is to have something Twisted Wonderland in it. I want to get something from bunches of my favorite characters, but it's not big enough. So it has some Kingdom Hearts and Onward and Stitch and stuff. So I'll show it to you when it's done. All right. Thanks so much for stopping by. I hope you're having a great weekend and enjoying manga and anime and video games. And we'll talk soon.